I just wanted to say that Antoine Griezmann said that it was very hot, that there was a full capacity stadium. Is this something that threw you off your game, do you think? The fact that the context was different? I mean, if I were to say that, it would be me opening Pandora's box, isn't it? It would be excuses, because I think that the fact that there was a full stadium was great for Hungary, who were playing at home. It was maybe not the game of their life, but it was definitely the game of the year for them to be playing in front of a home crowd. I think that this means that there'll be a lot more energy, even if it was the same for them. I think that the fact that we were having to adapt physiologically and psychologically to the fact that we were playing at very high temperatures in the middle of the afternoon, and this maybe had more of an impact on our team than on the opponent. But despite everything, I think that we had a lot of opportunities during the first half, and unfortunately we weren't able to find the back of the net. But they were leading 1-0 at the end of the first half. They were defending, and we were able to also get on the score sheets. I'm satisfied. I'm not overjoyed with the result, but I am satisfied with the result. We had a lot of shots, a couple of them on target, hit the post, and unfortunately with games like this, it's not that I'm not being demanding enough, but we didn't lose. We do have a point to add to the 3 points that we have in the bag already, and I think that this still leaves the door open for us to have a little bit of leeway for the third game. Second game, Gregory Schneider. Yes, thank you very much. We had the impression during the game that the Blues were looking for individual solutions rather than working together. It was a little bit like they were coming up against a brick wall, and so each player was trying to play by themselves. That's what we thought. But is that how you felt as well? No, not at all. No. Because we were able to do better, yes, but I think that there were very good pieces of play, especially in the first half. We had opportunities. Obviously, maybe we didn't find the back of the net, but when you come to individual players, there is a little bit of an individual game. This is part of football. It's part and parcel. Maybe my analysis is not the same as yours, but that's how it goes. Please ask for the floor if you wish to ask a question. We're going to Damien Degor from L'Équipe. Good evening, Didier. Karim Benzema. He hasn't yet scored, has he, for the French national team? But I think that he's trying too hard, as could have been the case during the first half. Do you have any doubts? With experience and that he has, we know that he's got a lot of experience under his belt. I don't think there are any doubts to have. But as with any forward, we know that he's capable of beautiful things. He's just not finding the back of the net as he was able to do during maybe the friendly games, and he wasn't able to do that this evening either. But he's got enough experience under his belt. I know that he's able to put that to one side. He knows that there are high expectations. He knows exactly what's expected from him, even though I've said to him, you know what, that's not the only thing that matters. Yes, we expect forwards to score, but I want him to have that confidence, and he has my confidence, and he knows that. Nicolas Le Gardien, on to you. Good evening. The result from today means that actually you're going to have to pull a win out the bag rather against Portugal. Is this going to change your approach on Wednesday? Not really. And if I say this, obviously I don't know. Everything depends on what happens this evening between Portugal and Germany. But in any case, the last game will be important. Obviously, there's a game this afternoon or this evening that will be important. I'm not excluding, anything, but I just need the time to digest, and maybe I will shake things up. with these games that we're having to play every 4 days. A fresh pair of legs is sometimes an important element, and today, with the temperatures as high as they were, it was very difficult. More for us than the Hungarians, even though I know that the Hungarians also spent a lot of energy running around the pitch. They were a little bit more dynamic than we were, I think, despite the conditions. Let me remind journalists of the rules. You are able to put your hand up if you wish to ask Didier a question. Are there any other questions for the coach? No? Nicolas Le Gardien, who's back on the microphone. What do you think went well for you in the first half, and what was lacking in the second half, in your opinion, up front? I think that the first 15 minutes, first 10-15 minutes, was slightly laborious. It took us a little bit of time to really get into the groove, and then things got better. We were able to really get out wide, find those opportunities without scoring, and the opponent gave us a sucker punch. They were wonderful. They were playing in front of a home crowd, and they really gave it their all. They were defending. We had less space. We had a couple of occasions. We were able to shoot, I think, 14 or 50 shots, but only 4 that were on target. Lots of situations where there was a stoppage of gameplay, and even though there was stoppage time, I think that there was a lot of dead time during the game. But with the score as it was favourable to them, and it gave them a lot of courage, I think. Obviously, we were able to level it up with the equaliser, but we never gave up. We never threw in the towel. I knew that if we didn't give it our all, we weren't going to be able to win. And our objective at the moment is to qualify for the next round, and we've still got a little bit of leeway with our 4 points, even though ideally we would have wanted to come out of this game with 6. Loïc Tanzi. Good evening, Didier. What's happening with Dembélé? I know that he was taken off with an injury. I can't really give you the specific details. I think he took a knock during the game. I think it's the tendon, the knee. He continued, but then actually he crossed the ball, and then actually he felt something was quite not right. I hope that it's only a little knock, but we won't know more until the following days, I think. Dominique Sévrac from Le Parisien. Good evening, Didier. Good evening.
On sait que c'est plus difficile. Faiblement. On sait que c'est plus difficile. Ouais, on sait que c'est
we know that it's very difficult to be strong up front, a lot stronger than down the back. Do you think that you still need to work on that harmony between the 3 that you've got playing up front? There's always room for improvement. We know that they're high-quality players. We know that they can be complementary. It's not just about the 3 up front, though. We tend to take the forwards out of the picture. We tend to only talk about them without thinking about what's happening on the wings, what's happening in midfield. Obviously, they're important, but despite all of their qualities, despite all of their talent, they don't play together that often. It could always be better. There's always room for improvement, even though we're seeing very performing things, very promising things on the pitch. We know that they've got different playing styles, but complementary playing styles all the same. Darilas from Norway. Good evening, Didier. Pogba maybe wasn't as up to scratch, but actually something that is causing a lot of noise in the UK is the fact that he's a completely different player when he's playing for France and when he's playing for Manchester United. What's the difference? There's a French Pogba at the moment. I'm not going to get into this debate because if I say something, I know it's going to be I don't like talking about what's happening at club level. Be this, be it Solskjaer, be it the other managers. I don't know what they're doing, but all I can talk to you about is the Pogba who's playing for me for France, and just what a great player he is on the pitch. He's a leader, even though today he was absolutely fantastic during the first game against Germany. Maybe he wasn't quite as good today, but he is a real cornerstone for the French team. Baptiste from Le Figaro. How did you find your midfielders today? And I'm going to... How did you find Adrien Rabiot and Paul Pogba today? Do you think that the heat got to them? Globally speaking, I think that they were all maybe affected. Paul, you know that he really stands out because he's a tall player. I don't know, maybe he ran out of steam. I know that Adrien ran around a lot, and that's why I actually made changes in the second half. I took them off to bring on fresh legs. I've also got an outstanding bench. We've got high quality on the bench. We've done and we did everything we could in order to adapt as best we could to the time of the game. It's not simple. And when I'm saying that, I'm not trying to make excuses, but it's a reality, because we know that the Hungarians were still able to pull it out of the bag. But high temperatures, middle of the afternoon. I think when we're talking about how hot it felt, we're looking about 35 or 36. The players were asking for hydration breaks, for water breaks every 5 minutes. Yesterday we had a training session at 2:30, and they were all saying, "We're doing our best, coach, but we're out of breath. It's so hot." The dynamic, I think that maybe we were not as fresh as we could have been. I think that we ran out of steam. We were missing that punch that maybe we had in the first game, but that didn't mean that there weren't opportunities, because there were. We just maybe didn't concretize on them. Damien from L'Équipe, last question. Yes, Didier, you seem to be chatting with Pavard a lot during the water breaks. He was booked very quickly, found himself in some sticky situations. Why didn't you take him off? Sticky situations, I don't know. I thought that he was very important in our offense as well as our defense, and he had Antoine with him. He's got Dembélé, so there were size adjustments, but the profiles aren't the same. I think that he did participate in our attack, and maybe that meant that he was working a little bit harder. And yes, he got a yellow card, but I didn't feel like there were any real risks with regards to that. Thank you very much.